Hi guys, I canceled my live oils educational chat for today due to a lack of response. I really didn't get any RSVPs. So I don't want to be honest with you, go through preparing that type of chat, unless I get some feedback indicating that there is some interest. So I will reschedule the essential oils chat, but I will need people to RSVP and let me know that you plan on tuning in. Or you can always email me or message me and let me know that you want a live one-on-one essential oils consultation, which can either be done over the phone or Skype or through FaceTime or just, however you'd want to do it. So for now, this is not the essential oils chat. Like I said, there really wasn't a big response. So I will reschedule it, and I just ask that you guys RSVP and indicate interest. That way I know that people want to participate. So right now, I will just chat for a little bit, and I will let you guys join in. Anyone that wants to participate, feel free to ask me a question or leave me a comment, and I will respond to you live. For some reason, the Facebook live chat is moving very slowly today. So I do apologize for that, but hopefully some of you are starting to see this and starting to see that I'm live. Like I said, I will be taking any questions and any comments. They can be questions about essential oils. They can be questions about my books. They can be questions about my mission as a patient advocate. They could be questions about my health and what illnesses I live with or how I manage my diseases. Really anything you want to ask, feel free to ask. Leave a comment and let me know. Any questions, comments, or concerns are always welcome, and I do take the time to address all those that I see. Sometimes on these live chats, they don't always show up live in the comments, and so I have to go back and answer them just in the comments section afterwards. But any that I do get while I'm chatting, I will gladly answer in real time for you. So until more people hop on or anyone wants to ask a question, I will just talk for a little bit. My little doggy here, one of them, wants to say hi. That's Pip. Say hi, Pip. So I have 3 dogs, and they honestly are the best. Like, I swear I could be having the worst day, and these little guys just always know how to make me feel better. This one's trying to give me kisses on camera. He's a little bit of a ham. So yeah, my dogs and cats are actually, something that it's really nice to have these pets to care for that are just unconditionally loving. And even if you're having a bad day, they always can bring a smile to your face and give you a reason to get up and care for someone or something other than yourself and your health problems. So my pets are just great. They're like my kiddos. So that little guy that you just saw was Pip. He's a rescue, a mini pincher Chihuahua mix. That's Pip. And then I have Maggie, a pug, who we privately adopted from another individual who I actually met through the Arthritis Foundation. And then my big guy, who's kind of, I don't know what he's doing. He's kind of resting over there. That's Brutus. He's a Doberman. And I have 2 cats that are rescues too. Their names are Jack and Theo. I have found that my pets have been such a great source of strength and happiness and inspiration to me, even when I'm feeling crappy. And it's really funny because I think they know when I'm not feeling well, and they know when I'm sick or in pain or hurting. And my big guy, who you might hear now and then, Brutus, he's 100 pounds of pure love, and he always seems to kind of guide me and guard me when I'm not feeling great. He makes sure that I'm okay, like getting up the steps, and he's very much by my side. and the little ones are just really good for snuggles and kisses. So I think that pets can really be a great source of just love and happiness while you're dealing with an illness or a disability. And it's also been wonderful to, have my identity in a way also shaped by my love for animals. I mean, aside from my health advocacy work and my patient advocacy work, I do a lot of volunteer and charity work relating to animals and pets and animal welfare, pet rescue, and so on. So, those are some of my favorite things. And the barking when I'm in the middle of talking is not my favorite thing. But Brutus, stop. But it's nice to have, other interests and other hobbies that sorry, that, help shape who you are outside of being a patient. And for me, I have a lot of them: reading, writing, animal welfare, nutrition, fashion, pop culture. I like wine. I like astronomy, as evidenced by my sweatshirt today. And so those things really help me sometimes take my mind off my illnesses. So does my church. And so does talking to people about my illnesses. The work that I do is very rewarding in the sense that I get to communicate with people who are also going through these same struggles, and I learn a lot from their journey, and I would hope that they in turn learn from me. But at the same time, as much as I love my work as a patient advocate, I do think that it is important to have other hobbies and interests and identifiers outside of being sick or being a patient. So what sparked all that was my little dog hopping up on camera. But it's so true. It's so true. And my pets are just a huge part of my life, just like my health problems are. I always try to focus on the good things. So they are definitely part of the things that I thank God for every day and that I feel very blessed to have in my life. I always tell people, things could be better for me, and I wish they were sometimes better, but they also could be a lot worse. And so while I know that doesn't make it any easier, it does sometimes put things into perspective, and I just try really hard to focus on all the good things in my life, and the things that I do have versus the things I don't have, or the things that illness has taken away from me. But as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I love fashion. I'm very into fashion, and I've always been into that glam, hair and makeup and shoes and purses, and I used to want to actually be a fashion designer or do PR in the fashion or the music industry. So those have always been like a huge parts of who I am. And, sometimes these illnesses can actually threaten to tarnish those things that we hold dear, or take things away from us that you wouldn't think of. And, I've had a lot of body image issues and self-esteem issues, not just relating to appearance, but rather relating to how I feel. And when it feels like your body hates you all the time, it's hard to feel good about your body. And I hope that can make sense. I know that I don't look sick to other people, but it's hard to match what you feel on the inside, which is very sick, to your outside when you don't look sick. And it's hard to convey to people sometimes the seriousness of your illnesses when you look fine. And that's always been a struggle for me, because I don't want to try to make myself look sicker. Why would I? But at the same time, I do sometimes want people to realize that it's harder than it looks, in some ways. And, so it's a weird thing to reconcile what I call your sick self with the self that you feel that you really are at the core, and the self that you want to portray to the world. Because who I am in my soul and at my core being, I don't think of myself as some sick, disabled girl. But my body sometimes has other ideas about that. And this was never clearer as it has been recently. I had given the example, a couple live chats ago, or maybe it was my last one, about how my pride got in the way of asking for help at an event, because I was too embarrassed to go in the ADA line, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act, as most of you know. I was worried about going in that line and asking for seating. It was a standing event, and I was having problems standing. And pridefully, and maybe, it was... Pip, please stop. I'm trying to talk. Sorry about that. I was embarrassed to ask for the accommodations that I needed, and that's something that I need to get over. I need to not worry what people think of me, because, really only what I think of myself and what God thinks of me, that's all that matters. So why do I care if some stranger is questioning the validity of my illness or my condition? But still, that's a hard situation to be in, where you're debating, is it worth the hassle to have to go through to explain myself to these people why I need this seating? And so that was a recent example, but this week I had another one. So to back it up a little bit, a couple of weeks ago, I saw one of my orthopedic surgeons. So I have a foot orthopedic surgeon, foot and ankle, and then I have a knee ortho. Well, I was seeing the foot ortho. He's a surgeon, and he did also x-ray my knee, and he looked at my knee and said, that's pretty much literally as bad as it can get, where you are actually still able to walk. And he's not the first person to say something like that to me. I've had other doctors and physical therapists tell me that they don't know how I am walking with my knee the way it is. Pretty much everything that could be wrong with it is wrong with it. I mean, it's bone on bone, no joint space, tons of bone spurs and calcium deposits, and tons of destruction and degeneration, and I don't have full reflexes in that knee anymore. The patella doesn't move. It has arthritis in it. There's a meniscal fragment floating around. It doesn't bend or straighten all the way. And it's also causing my quad muscle to kind of atrophy a bit, because the nerves aren't even firing correctly because the knee is so just messed up. So he basically told me that I probably need a full total joint replacement of my right knee. Now, I am still looking into stem cell therapy. I want to make that clear, but I haven't made a decision on that yet. Now, where this whole thing ties back into fashion and appearance and illnesses tarnishing your interests, I am getting back to that. So the next piece of the puzzle, after we discuss the knee, is my foot. And I'm told that basically there's nothing they can do for me. He said that my foot is almost beyond surgical repair, and that I would not be a good candidate for an ankle replacement. And the other alternative would usually be a triple fusion or something like that. And my foot is essentially almost too far gone to even do a triple fusion. He said he literally wouldn't know where to start. He called in a couple med students because my foot was so exceptional. Not in a cool complimentary way, wow, your writing ability is just exceptional, or your hair looks exceptional. No, it was exceptional, literally the exception to the rule. And he was a very friendly guy, and he kind of joked, yeah, it looks like it's 100-year-old lady's foot. Which, cool, it's you kind of have to laugh at this stuff sometimes. But so, he doesn't think that surgery will help it. He doesn't think that stem cell will help it. Again, I'm still going to the stem cell consultation, but he doesn't want me to get my hopes up and hold my breath that might be a solution. He feels it might be for some of my other joints, but the knee and the foot on the right side are kind of maybe too far gone. So on Wednesday, I have to go get fitted for it's called an Arizona cast. I don't know if any of you are familiar. If you are, please comment, because I'm I have some questions about it. And I don't know if none of you are commenting or I'm just missing them, because sometimes when Facebook's being glitchy, I don't see the comments during the chat when I'm supposed to be seeing them. I see them afterwards. But if any of you have had an Arizona cast or an Arizona brace, let me know. I want to ask you about it. So basically, it's like I have to go to a place where they make prosthetics. It's not a prosthetic, but it's a very specialized custom cast that's pretty much medically necessary at this point, and it's like a permanent brace that I will have to wear almost 24/7. Now I have other braces that I'm kind of supposed to wear, but they don't really help me. They don't provide much support. They really irritate my skin. This is supposed to be something that's a little bit more comfortable to wear all the time. So of course he told me if I'm going out or like going to a wedding or I'm wearing a dress or getting dressed up or looking fancy, like I don't have to wear it, but in most cases on a day-to-day scenario I should be wearing this brace. And the other part of this is I have to get special shoes. So so many of us have to wear, guys, sorry, Pip, Brutus. So many of us have to wear orthotics, and as you know, like sometimes the selection's a little bit limited if you're really into fashion. Granted, let me preface this by saying, obviously my health and my comfort and my mobility and my levels of pain, that's all obviously way more important than what my shoes look like, okay? I want that to be clear. I'm not like delusional. I did wear heels and wedges and cute, hold on. Guys, no. They don't listen to me. I did wear heels and wedges and cute shoes for as long as I could, but I knew that there was gonna be an expiration date on that. And so I did try to prepare myself, and I gradually kind of switched over to wearing sneakers more often and kind of growing my collection of tennis shoes and athletic shoes and flats. But I'm now at the point where even that is limited of what I should be wearing. And, it was something so dumb, but I'm sorry. This is the time of day where there's like people coming home from work and walking their dogs on our street, and my dogs are going nuts, so I apologize. But so it was something so minor. Like, I've been through brain surgery. I have had, abnormal biopsies. I've had and so I've been through worse than having to pick out ugly shoes, but I couldn't help it. I teared up at the shoe store because I'm like, really? Like, fashion was something that I still was able to kind of like hold on to from my normal self, and now, these shoes are not something that I would usually wear, and that coupled with the brace, now my invisible illness or invisible disability is not going to be quite as invisible. And again, it's a pride thing, it's a vanity thing, it's pretty shallow to worry about. But as most of you can relate to, I'm sure, it's not even about the brace or the shoes at all. Like, I don't care that much what strangers think, and people that know me know why I'm having to wear them. It's just, Lissa, you took the words out of my mouth. I was starting to say, like, Lissa wrote, it's just another thing to have to let go, and that is what it is. It's not the vanity. It's not the fact that I'm not wearing 6-inch stiletto Louboutin heels. I wish I could still wear really cool, really fun, sexy, glamorous shoes, but it's not that. It's not that my illness or disability are becoming visible. It is having to let go of something else. It's another loss. It's something else that I have to adapt, another part of my life that I have to change because of these conditions. And I realize it's so silly. But just last year, about a year ago, you can actually look it up here on my Facebook page, I gave a speech about how Sorry, I'm actually getting emotional and I don't know why. It's not that big of a deal, but I gave a speech about how fashion and writing were two things that helped me kind of rediscover who I was after I had to give up sports because I was an athlete before these diagnoses. And so I turned to fashion and I turned to writing, and to have the fashion part of it kind of be not taken away from me, but altered, because now I have to figure out what kind of pants do I wear that's gonna, sorry, I had a notification. What kind of pants am I gonna wear that works with this cast? And what kind of socks? What kind of shoes? Like, in the summer, what do? I'm not going to wear sneakers every day. What about my sandals? And it's little stuff to worry about. But again, it's just another thing that these illnesses are taking from me. They've altered my career path. It's the reason my husband and I have all these beasts. There's one of my cats. And don't have kids yet. They are, part of why I quit sports. I had to give up the food that I grew up eating, a lot of Italian food and things like that, because I have to be gluten-free because of celiac disease. And, there's just so much loss that comes along with these conditions. There's loss of income, loss of self-esteem, loss of understanding from others, loss of accommodations and things that you take for granted, like a seat at an event, at a concert or a rally. There's a loss of control. There's a loss of control. You don't have control over these illnesses as much as you want to. And sometimes you lose friends. Sometimes you lose jobs. Sometimes you lose or you gain weight. So having to give up the kind of shoes I want to wear is really dumb. And it's, I have to give the shoes up in order to hopefully give some of the pain up, because when you're having trouble walking and your doctor tells you if you don't comply, you're going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 40, well, you tend to want to have to listen to your doctor. So, yeah, I go get fitted for my Arizona cast on Wednesday morning at the prosthetics and orthotics place. I'm currently wearing a lift in my one shoe to help me with my limp. I'm figuring out what the next steps are with my knee surgery, and just trying to deal with all of this. So, just a little vent session. Shoes are something so silly to get upset over. But it was just the whole thing. And I'm also facing another decision right now that I don't know how many of you know about it. But basically, I've been having kind of a thyroid scare. I've had a couple biopsies come back abnormal. And I have a surgery scheduled for November 15th to have half of my thyroid removed, because there is a slight chance of malignancy. The first biopsy they did, it was like a 15 to 30% chance it was malignant. But then the second one actually looked a little better, and it was only I think 5 to 15% chance. And then the next one was just indeterminate, like non-determinate. So I went and got this molecular testing done, and I get the results back, and the doctor says it's probably benign. Probably means 90 to 94% chance it's benign, closer to probably the 94% end. But that's still a 6 to 10% chance that it's malignant. So, my doctor says probably cancel the surgery. We can just wait and watch and keep an eye on it. But I'm kind of nervous about starting another biologic for my RA if there's any chance of malignancy, because as we know, that's kind of unsafe. So my new rheumatologist, I have two that I work with, and I've only talked to one of them about this. Thinks that I probably will be okay going on a biologic if I opt not to do the surgery. We'll just have to keep like an extra close eye on the situation because of the thyroid thing. And I've had adverse reactions to biologics in the past. So, I kind of have a close eye kept on me anyway. The only way to know for 100% sure, yes, there are malignant changes in the thyroid, or no, there's not, is the surgery. But the odds of it being malignant is fairly low now. It's certainly low from my first biopsy. So, my doctors, most of them are advising to not have the surgery yet and just keep an eye on it. Of course, the people in my life that I confide in, like my husband and parents and close friends, have given me split opinions on whether they think I should have the surgery or not. So that's in a week. So I have like 2 days, if that, to decide. I'm actually waiting for a call back from my surgeon to see, if she advises waiting as well. So I think my shoe frustration at the shoe store about the foot situation was like a culmination of all of it. So the knee replacement, the thyroid, biopsy results, and impending surgery for that, in addition to the knee replacement, and then being told, well, your foot, the thing that I was really hoping to get a surgery for, it pretty much doesn't qualify for surgery because it's so messed up. So yeah, it wasn't just the shoes, and so many of you, I'm sure, can relate to that. Like when you're out and everyone is ordering food and you get flustered because you have celiac and you're on a gluten-free diet, you're not necessarily upset that you can't eat gluten. You're upset that everyone's making a big deal of it. You're upset that you even have to be sitting there and being the center of attention because you need special dietary accommodations. Like, it's never necessarily about, I shouldn't say never, it's often not necessarily directly about the illness or the health problem or the disability. A lot of times it's about how the condition affects those around us or affects our life in intangible ways, like our self-esteem, like our choices or lack of choices, like our ability to have, a normal career, or issues of adaptability, accessibility, awareness, the emotion that goes on with living with a chronic and never-ending health problem. Sometimes those things and the intangible things and the things that don't seem like that big of a deal are like worse and harder and scarier and more frustrating than the condition itself. I mean, my friend thought I was kind of crazy the other day when I said I literally had more of an emotional reaction to being told that, hey, you have to wear these ugly shoes every day for the rest of your life, than I did to be told, oh, you had an abnormal biopsy. And here's why. Sorry, my dog keeps trying to barge in. Say hi, Brutus. Say hi. Okay, baby. Okay. Here's why, though. And I think it's because, so say I get, say there's the biopsy results, right? In my mind, okay, well, there's a solution for that. It sucks that there might be malignancy. That's scary, of course. It's worrisome, but okay, have the surgery, remove half of my thyroid. There's a solution. There's a problem. There's a potential fix. There it is. With the foot thing, it's a little bit more frustrating because you're being told, well, there's nothing we could really do. You just gotta kind of live with the pain. And here's a brace that might work. And here's these shoes that you hate that you are gonna have to wear, and they may or may not work either. And you're still gonna be in pain, and you're gonna have to wear shoes that you hate on top of it. So yeah, the thyroid thing was scary, but I was almost not looking forward to it, but I had a solution. There was a problem with a solution, and I thought, well, maybe, it sucks to have surgery. That's scary. But I might feel better. I might have the thyroid surgery, and then my levels of fatigue might improve. And then I won't have to worry that there's, malignant changes in my thyroid, and it's just over and done with. There was an end result, or sort of more of an end result in that, that I may not even be doing now, than the foot or the knee. Like the knee is a little more tangible too. Like, okay, stinks to have a knee replacement, but I can get it done and hope for the best. And I've heard great things, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. But the foot, it's like, okay, yeah, your foot looks like 100-year-old woman's. Every single possible joint that could be affected in your foot is affected. But I can't do surgery on it, and stem cell probably is not going to help. And I can't guarantee that this cast or, these shoes are going to help. And so you have to wear these shoes that you don't like. They're going to make you feel really self-conscious, and you probably will still be in pain. And then fingers crossed that you don't end up in a wheelchair. Like, that's kind of where the frustration came from. As some of the commenters said, it's about things that you have to give up and things that you lose control over, So at least certain facets, certain things in my health situation, which is very multi-layered and complex, at least some of it I have control over it. What I struggle with is those areas where I don't have control. And going back to what we were talking about before, I think that's why I throw myself so much into other things, like caring for my pets and doing volunteer work with animals and with health causes, and my writing and my books and my social media and reading and my hobbies, and my friends and family and husband and loved ones. I really focus on all of those things, my church, all of that, because I to some extent I can control, like, you know what, I like reading, I'm gonna read. Or you know what, I have this set routine I have with my dogs. I know it's something I can count on, and I'm going to take care of them. It takes some of the focus off of me, and it's something I like, and no one's taking my dogs away from me, And I thought fashion was one of those things, but then it's like, nope, just kidding. We're going to take your shoes from you too. So it's silly, but it's, it's even more of a reason that we have to find things outside of our illness to round out who we are and round out our personalities, because we cannot let these illnesses consume or define us. Like, I have to laugh about the fact that I pretty much cried at the shoe store the other day because it's so ridiculous, and it just sounds like another chapter in my book, Sick Idiot. You have to have a sense of humor about it, and a sense of humor about the doctor saying your foot looks like 100-year-olds, and then you also have to focus on things beyond yourself. So I will always, treasure the love of my pets and my friends and family and loved ones and husband, and I will continue to do advocacy work, charity work, volunteer work, because I just think it's so important to not get pigeonholed into only being a patient. It is exhausting to be a full-time patient. I, in a 6-week period, went to 32 medical appointments. Now, I'm counting physical therapy, but that's still a lot. That's exhausting. That's like having a full-time job and then some. When you factor in waiting for test results and this and that, and then just being sick. So, I have to, for my own sanity, I do have to focus on these other things that I enjoy. And I do sometimes focus on my appearance. And a part of that is I'm not going to let this illness take X, Y, or Z from me. So, if I want to go get my hair done, as I did today, or if I want to go buy a nice handbag, as I do occasionally, you know what? That's something that these problems aren't going to take from me. And these illnesses will continue to take things from me, and I know that. But I've also gained things from them. I've gained perspective, and I see more and more these days that a lot of people, especially here in the U.S., do not have a healthy perspective on life and what is important in life. So my illnesses have given me perspective. My illnesses have given me a level of compassion and empathy that was always there, but has grown through the years as I've gotten older. They really make you look at things in a new light and realize, you realize that everybody has problems, everybody has struggles, and you're not the only one suffering. And I think that my depth of compassion and empathy for others has grown so much because of my health problems. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago, where I was a little bit more shallow and a little bit more selfish. And, I didn't realize the great depth of suffering that so many people deal with, and oftentimes privately. So yeah, I have awful health problems. My health sucks. Pardon the language, but it does. But I have so many other things that are so wonderful in my life that I choose not to dwell on it. And, I think that we have to try to find that balance between venting, like I just did. For a while, I did. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but we all got to vent sometimes. To find that balance between doing that, venting, which is healthy, but not allowing ourselves to get consumed by that venting. We don't want to get consumed by being the victim. No one promised us life would be easy, and the world owes us nothing. It's up to each of us to kind of cultivate our own path and forge our own identity and do the best we can for ourselves and for others. And that is something, that attitude and that mindset in my heart and my spirit, that is something that my illnesses and my disabilities, whether they are visible or invisible, whether they get worse or get better, that's something they will not take away. So I might have to wear crappy shoes doing it, but I'm always going to walk in my truth and towards the light and on a path of love, self-love and love for others and love for the world around me, because life is just too hard to go at it alone and to go at it with a bitter mindset or a crappy attitude. That's my rant for today. I started off just kind of rambling because I canceled my essential oils chat and wound up talking about my dogs and shoes, which is actually pretty normal conversation for me, which is funny. So now I'm going to actually go through and look at some of the comments that I'm getting, and I'll reply to you guys. So let's see. And anyone else who wants to add a question or a comment, feel free. I have about 10 more minutes before I have to leave. Lissa Taylor, Abacasis. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names sometimes. Lissa said that, yeah, like when I was talking about the shoe thing, it's so vapid, but it is something else that we have to give up. And sometimes having to give something up like that stinks when it's not our choice, like when it's our illness doing it to us. Thank you for your good vibes, Lissa. The thyroid thing, it is what it is. Kind of scary, but kind of just par for the course. All I can ever do is just hope for the best and hope that I make the right medical decisions for myself, and that the doctors also have my best interests at heart. So we'll see how that turns out. As of now, I still have the surgery scheduled, but I'm probably leaning towards not doing it for now. So we'll see. Hi Dee, thanks for chiming in. I'm sorry that your husband's had RA for 39 years. It stinks. It's a tough disease, and the older I get and the more effects that I've seen that it's had on my body through the years that I didn't even really realize, it's kind of eye-opening as to how tough it can be. But at the same time, I have several people in my life who have just done wonderfully and thrived and had so much success with the biologics and done great despite their RA. And I know people that run like half marathons and stuff that have RA. So it stinks and it's hard, but it's not, a death sentence. But I do have empathy for him because I've had RA now for 22, 23 years. So yeah, it's tough, but we're strong people, those of us that live with these types of illnesses, and I never forget that. That's something else that my illnesses have given me, is a great level of inner strength. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah, Lisa, you're right. There is no quick fix for the RA. There's not like an easy solution. RA presents us with a ton of problems and not quite as many solutions, unfortunately. Hi, Brenda. I see you joined in. Aw, thank you. Brenda said, preach, girl. You are not your illness or your disability. Totally agree. I try to live my life by that. Some days it's harder than others, and some days it's pretty easy. You know, I have good days and bad, just like anyone with an illness or anyone in general. You know, everyone has good days and bad days. Lissa, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for the healthy vibes. I appreciate it. So I have a few more minutes. If anyone else wants to leave a comment or a question, please do. And keep in mind, like I said at the beginning, I do want to do another one of these chats on essential oils and have like a live essential oils class. But I need people to RSVP because when I had the event up this last time, it was going to be tonight. I just didn't get enough feedback to feel like it was warranted. So I want to be sure to do the live oils one when I know I have, you know, an audience. So, okay, so my husband is in like a charity kickball game for his school. He's a teacher. I'm not quite sure what it entails, but I'm going to get going so I can go see him. But before I go, I have a very important message. Tomorrow is election day. I will not tell you how to vote or who to vote for. What I will say is educate yourself on all of the issues and where all the candidates stand on these issues. And please vote your conscience, vote with your mind and your heart, and just vote. You know, a lot of people have given their lives for our rights, which include the right to vote. And there was a point when this election madness started this year where I said, I don't think I'm gonna vote. I am, you know, I don't judge people who choose not to vote this year, and you know, I still don't judge anyone that chooses not to vote or that votes either way. But I do realize each day how very important it is that we do get out there to the polls if we haven't voted already, and cast our vote, regardless of what your political affiliation is or who you are voting for. Your vote does not count unless you get out there and cast your vote. Brenda just let me know that Uber and Lyft are giving free rides to polls tomorrow. So guys, thanks Brenda for letting me know. I did not know that. It's really important for those of us who live with a disability or an illness to get out there and vote, even if we don't drive. There's an option, Uber and Lyft. And there are some resources online. If you are disabled and you cannot drive, there are ways to get to your polls. There are shuttles in different townships and from different polling places. Brenda said that here in Pennsylvania, use promo code VOTEPA for Uber or Lyft to get a ride to the polls. There's also a website called Crip the Vote, CRIP, Crip the Vote. I don't know if it's a website or just a hashtag, but if you look it up, they will provide resources for those of you who are homebound or who don't drive or who are disabled and may have trouble finding an accessible polling facility. There are tons of resources out there, so be sure to Google them tonight. Do your homework. Again, educate yourself on all of the issues that affect those of us with illness and with disabilities, and just vote your conscience, whatever that is. I will not judge anybody for their decision, but I just ask and pray that people vote with conviction, with passion, and with educated, intelligent, informed information before you make your choice. It's so important. Vote as you may, but please vote your conscience, and please be kind and respectful tomorrow. I know social media is going to be hideous. It has been the whole election season, and I anticipate that it's only going to get worse in the coming days. So please get out there and vote, and then please be kind to one another. All we have is each other, and you know, we cannot let something like this election divide us in this country. And keep in mind that the decisions we make here in the United States affect our neighbors worldwide, not just our immediate neighbors, but the entire world is watching this election. It's so important. So please get out there and vote. Please be nice to each other, and please live in love and light. Thank you all for listening and for tuning in here, joining me for a little convo. Brenda, thank you so much for all the info. And Lissa, thank you so much for your contributions to the conversation and for the good vibes. And Dee, thank you also for chiming in. And thank you, Ollie, for watching. Hopefully I will see you guys again soon. And I will reschedule that essential oils chat, so stay tuned. Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a good evening, guys. Bye.